Hey folks, in this quick video I want to go over the assignment we started in class just to make sure everyone understands what to do. The main goal of the assignment is to really have an appreciation for how enormously large the solar system is. As we can see here, the sun is 1.3 million kilometers across, but that pales in comparison to the distance of the planets. So what we want to do is compare the distance to the planets with respect to the diameter of the sun. So if you don't have a calculator, you'll want to pull out a handheld calculator, or maybe just pull up your computer calculator. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the diameter of the sun and divide it into the distance to the planets. So let's start out here with Mercury. And Mercury is 57,900,000 kilometers from the sun. And we'll divide that by 1,390,000 as the diameter of the sun, and you can see that that gets us around 42. So we can get an idea that Mercury is 42 solar diameters away from the sun. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter that here in my chart, and let's take a look at Venus. Bring the calculator back up. Clear it out. Now you may notice that since we're talking about millions here, we can simplify this a bit. So we can say that Venus is 108.2 million kilometers, and we're going to divide that by the diameter of the sun at 1.39 million kilometers, and we see that that gets us about 78. So the planet Venus is 78 solar diameters away from the sun. Go ahead and complete the rest of this table. Just go down and do those simple mathematical calculations, and then once the table is complete, let's go ahead and go over to Google Earth. If you're not familiar with Google Earth, we're just going to use the web application of Google Earth. No need to download something. So go to your favorite browser and type in Google Earth Web, and that should bring you to a page like this. We'll go ahead and create a new project and just create it as a KML file, and we're gonna name this project as Neighborhood Solar System. Maybe put your own name in there. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to zoom in to your home, wherever that is. If it's out west, or if it's another country, someplace that you're very familiar with. For the purposes of this activity right now, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to Elon University, since that's a place we should all be familiar with, and zoom in a little bit more here. Let's see, there's Gibsonville, here's Elon University. Let's keep on zooming in until we see some places that look familiar. And here we go. Right here is McMichael Hall. Now, for the purposes of this, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's position the sun at McMichael Hall. And the idea here is we're going to imagine that the sun is 1 meter in diameter. So that's pretty big. You know, a meter is a little more than 3 feet. If the sun was 1 meter in diameter, and 1 meter is a convenient unit that is the default unit here in this browser. So I'm going to take a push pin down here in the lower left and enter that push pin right here at the courtyard, at the sculpture at McMichael Hall. Let's label that as the sun. Now I can edit the place, and since the sun is a nice color, I'm going to make it a yellow push pin, and we'll go ahead and make it a large one too, because that's the focus of our activity here. Now I'm going to collapse this window, and what I'm going to do is take the measuring tool and measure out from the sun to where Mercury might be. Now Mercury was about 42 solar diameters away from the sun, so I'm going to look for a spot that's about 42 meters away from my sun pushpin, which is right there on the corner where everybody's waiting to cross to get over to the other side of campus. So I'm going to come enter another pushpin and place it right where I just had that measurement and label this as Mercury. Again, I can change the color. Mercury is kind of a grayish color, so I may select that for Mercury. But again, make it however you prefer, customize it as much as you'd like. And we will collapse this view. And sticking with a road, sticking with sidewalks, sticking with places that you're somewhat familiar with, let's find where Venus would be. So again, I'll come back to the measuring tool, start at the sun, and Venus was about 78 solar diameters away. So we're gonna find a spot about 78 meters away, which is partway into the McMichael parking lot, maybe. Let's find something around here that's pretty close to 78. So again, I'm going to take another push pin and mark that spot as a potential location for the planet Venus. Keep in mind, the planets are not going to always be in a nice straight line. One may be on one side of the sun, one may be on the other. So what I'd like you to do is find landmarks or place marks that would be familiar for you. Again, feel free to change the color and edit it as you like. Then we're going to come in and find the location of the Earth. So take your measuring tool, measure out the distance that you calculated for the Earth, and put a push pin there. Finally, I'm going to ask you to take a couple screenshots of your solar system. So if you're not familiar with taking a screenshot, you have a keyboard button that probably says something about print screen, or you can come and find the snipping tool. So when you take a snip of an area, the whole screen grays out, and you can just draw a box over the part of the image that you'd like to capture, and that automatically goes into your clipboard, and you can copy and paste this into a Word document. Again, what I'd like to see is two screenshots, one of the inner solar system, maybe the planets up through Mars, and then one of the entire solar system. The one of the entire solar system may be zoomed out so far that it's hard to see the inner solar system, which is why I'm asking for two. I'm looking forward to seeing your neighborhood solar system, and feel free to add in any extras, maybe put in an asteroid or some comets, something like that. There's even other things you could do, such as tracing out orbits, but let that to your creativity. At minimum, I'd like to see two screenshots, one of the inner and one of the entire solar systems. Looking forward to seeing your work.